When bosses schedule hours that just don't work, they're scheduling personal lives that just don't work as well. Imagine going from week to week not ever having a set work schedule. The New York Times editorial, When Bosses Schedule Hours That Just Don't Work, attempts to discuss the issues of unpredictable work schedules, but does not quite go far enough in demonstrating the effects of unpredictable scheduling. It is important to dig deeper into this topic and further the knowledge of unpredictable work schedules because they affect so many employees across the nation. The editorial brought up how widespread these unfair practices of scheduling were and how they affect employees' personal lives, but the editorial did not talk about the effects of these unfair practices, prove exactly how widespread they are, or discuss actual accounts of damaged personal lives. It would have been more useful to give specific examples of unfair practices generated by unpredictable scheduling to show how many people are affected and to give personal accounts of the hardships of unpredictable scheduling. The editorial briefly discussed each, but should have gone deeper to make a stronger impact. For example, the editorial claims that the fundamental problem is that as scheduling has become a tool for higher profits, it has also generated unfair practices. Although I agree with this statement, I think the editorial should have used more examples of what exactly these unfair practices are. In the editorial, they give examples of practices such as on-call scheduling, a bonus-based pay system, software that minimizes labor costs, and an abuse of overtime. However, the editorial should have directed these examples in a path that discussed the fairness of these practices. For instance, Lonnie Golden from the Economic Policy Institute writes, by income level, the lowest income workers face the most irregular work schedules. This doesn't seem very fair. He writes that these low-income workers come from jobs with irregular scheduling such as agricultural, personal services, real estate, retail trade, and more. Giving examples of these types of jobs and the income level or social class of the people affected is a more effective way of showing how unfair unpredictable scheduling is. Also, the wide range of jobs demonstrates the magnitude of people affected. The editorial also states that unpredictable scheduling is still widespread. The editorial supported this by stating 66% of food service workers, 52% of retail workers, and 40% of janitors and house cleaners are affected by unpredictable scheduling. It would have been more useful to discuss the demographics of these jobs. Though the jobs the editorial mentioned are common, they do not prove that unpredictable scheduling is widespread. Instead, the editorial should have demonstrated how many people are affected. A fact sheet from the Research Library on nationalpartnership.org states that there are 3.3 million workers in the United States who are paid wages at or below the federal minimum wage. These workers often have little control over their schedules and are often given little or no advance notice of their hours. Knowing roughly how many people experience unpredictable scheduling aids in understanding how widespread the issue is. It also makes it easier to imagine the impact it has on the workers' lives. Finally, the editorial states that schedules can fluctuate from week to week, making it hard to manage a family or calculate a budget. To support this, the editorial used on-call scheduling as an example. Although on-call scheduling, where people may be sent home or denied work if business is low for the day, is an issue, it was not proper evidence to support how unpredictable scheduling makes it hard to manage a family or calculate a budget. Instead, the editorial should have used personal examples. Jillian B. White from The Atlantic states, a study published in the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine linked irregular shift schedules to diminished cognition and physical health with workers who are exposed to such schedules for extended periods, showing decreases in their ability to reason, think, and recall information. This effectively shows that workers' personal lives are being negatively affected by unpredictable scheduling. How can someone be expected to manage a family and personal life if their job is putting their physical and mental health at risk? The injustices to the workers is what the editorial really should have focused on. The editorial did mention the ways in which workers experienced unpredictable scheduling, but the editorial did not go far enough in demonstrating to what extent unpredictable scheduling impacts employees. The editorial did not properly discuss how these scheduling practices are unfair, talk about how many people are affected in the United States, or discuss the stress these practices place on employees' personal lives. The editorial only slightly dipped into the disaster that is unpredictable scheduling, whereas it should have dove deeper into the harsh technicalities that come along with it. At the end of the day, the real issue does not lie in the way scheduling is designed to seek profit, but instead in how these designed schedules affect the people involved.